Hello and welcome to the March and April edition of Ctf Watching the Fat, where me and Szilveszter are judge, not really a judge anymore, legacy judge, discuss the local results at Underworld games, and we've got a couple of other bits and pieces. Obviously, because we've had variety of pre-releases, so we've got the drop of OPM 10, just OP10, the ban list that's come into effect now, as well as regionals that happened at Glasgow. I don't think we've seen them.
Yeah, there was a regionals on the 23rd,
Yeah.
I believe, Saturday.
And then next Saturday's regionals down in London. Right. So we'll start just with our locals results because we're going to try and run through these as quick as we can because a lot of them are deck sold. It's not no surprise. We'll talk about ones that we think is a bit more interesting. So 10. This will date back quite a fair bit into February. Been a bit struggling for times to record work commitments and whatnot. So 10th of the 2nd, 5, we had Purple Luffy. Foxy made it to 2nd, and then, the 3rd. Outside of Foxy, I think
Expected.
the likes of NL and
Yeah,
Luffy are pretty
well
much
expected.
We can move quickly on to 13th of the 2nd so far, so that would be Boa making it number 1, Yamato in 2nd, and Teach in 3rd. I think we're starting to see a lot more, based within the last couple of weeks anyway, a lot more people playing Teach.
Yeah.
Which, now with the ban list in effect, I think was bound to happen,
I think this was the time when rumors were confirmed that we got the announcement that there will be a ban list update.
Yeah.
So people have started to test and play with decks that they thought are going to be safe.
Yeah.
When the ban list drops.
I think Teach was never one of those. They've only just released it.
I don't support this. It's a bit ironic that Boa was first place now that we know what the ban list is.
Yeah, we know the ban list is, yeah. Like I said, we'll go into the ban list a little bit. Some cards deserving, some cards. I mean, we did a couple of shorts on the channel about it, and we think there could have been other cards here. It wasn't necessarily those cards. We understand why those cards were here. We just think they could have looked at some other cards.
I think a lot of people are in a 50-50 with the ban list. And then on the 17th of the 2nd, we had Purple Luffy at first, Gecko Mori at 2nd, and then Purple Luffy at 3rd.
Okay.
Yeah, Purple.
I think one of the Purple Luffy players, it occurs a fair bit if it turns up is the same player, isn't it? And he's practicing really hard for regionals, which I can understand with the London one. I don't think he attended the Glasgow one. But he'll be going down there next week. So we were trying to get him on as a guest, but he decided to no-show. We crocheted on this. Either way, so yeah, nothing realistically new there. Obviously, Gecko, the 8 drop now getting banned. Obviously, pre that, so I think people getting that in while they could. I think one of our players was one of those, I'll play it while I can. Then we move on to the 20th of the 2nd. ST13 Sabo, red yellow. Robin in 2nd, and then putting in a lot of yellow there.
It was
2 purple and a red.
It was one of those low attendance weeks.
Yeah.
The end of February was somewhat low on attendance.
Yeah, I think a lot of people were just keeping their money for, obviously, with the pre-release.
Yeah, which is kind of expected.
Then a bit of a different.
Yes.
On the 24th, actually.
So
Boogie of one.
Yeah.
Before the promo.
I remember that week.
Teach and then Shanks.
So I was playing Teach that week. And Tom was playing Buggy.
Okay. Yeah.
I did play him in the finals, and it was a very close game.
So I always thought, I'd never played Boogie in Teach, but I always imagined that due to what Boogie's leader effect is, it makes it really easy to play the biggest body the fastest.
Yeah.
But whether that holds true as to, like, you can't get rid of it, you can still stop it swinging eventually, so it's not impossible to. I can imagine Teach still doing a bit of work.
It was a very intensive game, and at the end of it, it all came down to swings.
Blue is quite good though with draw power, so
Especially Buggy. The amount of cards that the deck is able to draw is just.
I'm sure me and you have played a practice game now, 14 or 15. It's so easy to get card advantage for just countering, especially in the late. To the 27th of the second 25, we've got Shanks versus Dofi. Oh, sorry, Shanks, Dofi, blue, and then BY, blue, yellow ace. Let's keep continuing. Just going to open it back every 5 minutes. See what we can get out of it.
Again, seeing meta decks thriving in a rather casual environment and leader pack. Yeah. And Shanks and Doflamingo, nothing crazy about those decks. Blue Yellow Ace, we will get to these decks later.
It's going to say, blue yellow ace, it sounds really. Everyone kind of thought that BY Luffy was exceedingly consistent with his power. However you can say it. BY Ace would be really good for that because you can consistently drop a 5 on it so long as you have the cards to keep playing.
I think when we get to the ban list, we can talk about the three brothers a bit more in depth because they have been affected rather heavily.
Third of the third, 25. Into March. Bower at 1 again. Smoker 2.
That was me.
Got Bonnie at 3. So to say that, I'm not going to say there's loads of different players at home. Bower is more, it looks like it's more prominent.
It has now with the ban list, it has kept its consistency.
Yeah.
Compared to the Flamingo. You are more likely to find your pieces because you are using card draw as opposed to searching your deck.
Yeah.
And the other reason why Boa is showing up quite often is because you're able to reuse your own play abilities quite a lot. And this also synergizes into the leader's ability.
Yeah.
It's a very, very intensive deck to play. It requires a lot of skill and a lot of experience when it comes to managing hand size, like both yours and your opponent's. And in the finals game, I did play against Boa with my smoker, and I was putting twice.
Yeah, I think that is the big thing.
And that did me in.
Play the Charlotte pudding if you ever played it.
Yeah.
Because it's always there. I would say I played Boa for a bit prior to most of this. I think I played it a lot last year. I didn't find that it was difficult in terms of playing it. I thought the hand size part, yes, but I didn't find it difficult to play. I didn't think it was like that. I get what you're saying. You can do it at times.
Yeah.
But I never found it too difficult. That's fine. So I'll be black. Obviously, that'll be the VO2 smoker.
Yes.
Still receiving decent support now. I think. With a lot of what he got. I mean, the loss of Ice Age. Ooh, yeah, that's right. That'll hurt. Yeah. I mean, you still get -4. But
there are still ways of reducing cost, but Ice Age going is a really
Bonnie at 3. So the 6th of the 3rd. Bonnie at number 1. Teach at 2. I'm assuming yellow, green, Yamato at 3. I'm assuming it's not structure. No one ever plays the structure.
I also remember this game.
You're at the heart of a lot of these.
Well, it wasn't me playing in the finals, but I have seen the game from the outside. And unfortunately, the Teach player didn't know rules interaction with the 8-cost Eustace Captain kid.
Okay, so just for the way I wasn't there for this.
So
I'll probably go know it myself.
There have been a turn where the Teach player was able to play out the 10-cost character.
Yeah.
And instead of negating the 8-cost Eustace, they negated something else. And they didn't know about this rules interaction
Yeah,
with the 8-cost kid that it's negated even during the opponent's turn.
Yeah.
So they were stuck on the magnet for a while.
Yeah. Yeah, so basically, like, even if you pause the character can't pull the 3-cost on board as well. So,
You can't
do anything if it's front of like.
You can't do anything with it. It just sits there doing nothing, being pretty.
Oh, no. Okay. So 10th of the 3rd, 25. This is just getting to before we have the P10 release. Shanks, then Robin, then NL. So
again, Shanks doing well. Robin.
Would you sit there and say that Shanks is the best control deck in the format?
At this point, so pre-ban list, it was in the top 4. Post-ban list, I'm gonna say it's the second best. I think number 1 is still NL.
As a controller?
Yeah. So Kingdom Come going has impacted it.
Yeah.
But going into future set EBO2, that loss is going to be compensated.
Yeah.
And it still has some really powerful pieces of removal like Katakuri from set 3, Yamato from set 4, and with 4 cards missing, those 4 cards can easily be replaced with, I don't know, the 4-cost event and the 7-drop rationale, just to give some extra pressure into the board.
Yeah, it's supposed to be just a late game live game.
The deck has been impacted by the ban list, but not to the extent where it has dipped too much in power.
That's absolutely fine. 13th of the 3rd, so I think that was the day before, wasn't it?
Yeah.
We don't have any results recorded. It was a really, really low participation.
I think that was only the 3 of us, because
that
that was...
It was 4, actually. We were looking at the results earlier. There was one person with 9, and everyone else was
yes, that was the...
It was 4 people.
Yeah, that was the first day before the pre-release, that's why.
Yeah, so the day after the pre-release.
Yeah.
We don't record pre-releases. Otherwise, it would just say Rainbow Luffy wins. Everyone, we do some of the all in, it's a bit daft to say, Rainbow Luffy top 3.
And then we go into the weeks where I believe the ban list was announced at that point.
Yeah, the ban list wasn't in effect until basically into the beginning of April.
Yeah, but
so
we have been made aware of what changes will happen 2 weeks in advance. So from this point on, people have been playing decks either already changed.
Yeah, already changed or just playing what they can in the last of.
Yeah.
So I think don't be
final hurrah.
Yeah, final hurrahs. Although even when you look at these results afterwards, it's
yeah. So Lucci, Yamato, and Shanks in the top 3. A return of Lucci.
Yeah.
A final hurrah. That deck was it.
Yeah, I think losing a couple of big cards wasn't the best, was it?
We got double rares. Let's see if you got...
I got another leader back.
Wow.
Double rares. So I had two law leaders.
I am waiting to see if we can get a double Zoro.
Okay. So the 20th of the 3rd, like I say, so Lucci, Yellow Green Yamato, Shanks, still. Whenever we seem to see Shanks, it seems to always a top 3, regardless of where played. Super consistent.
But what I would like to mention is that we have seen decks like Foxy, Yamato, and Robin coming at 2nd and 3rd places, which I think in the...
I mean, even Pudding to an extent. Pudding
as well.
Such non-meta decks. I mean, I think we spoke last month about like OPO1. I mean, I've played OPO1 King on Thursday.
Yeah.
You can do it.
A lot of these decks are considered rogue decks in the competitive scene, but
it's 100%
it all comes down to your matchups and also skill level of the player.
I think if we run back to the 24th in a second, you said Boogie game one time. I'm sure that you spoke about when that happened, and it was, did Boogie play Shanks? And you said no. Right. So long as Boogie can avoid, for the most part, Boogie gets destroyed by Shanks. Yeah. So if you can avoid that match, any It's just avoiding certain matches if you can. That's why some people do well at regionals. Is they go the whole day and they play their deck really well, but the matches they have a more favourable.
Yeah.
Like if you play blue or you play Boa, it's favourable if you don't see at the time playing into blue cheese and stuff like that. Stuff you can't realistically deal with. Blue cheese has such a better board state control. And we're talking free balance, of course, with Moria and stuff like that. Yes, that was the 20th of the 3rd. Then we go to the 24th of the 3rd. New teach. Well, same teach, different cards.
Yeah.
Luffy and Bonnie.
Expected.
Yeah, about right. Those monos.
Yeah.
That's right.
And then we go into the new toys.
Yeah, new toys, which is always fun.
Structure Deck 21 Luffy, Gear 5EX, Shanks, and Peach.
Yeah.
Again, this is still pre-ban list.
Yeah.
But now we can start seeing some hints on what we can expect on how the meta is going to
shape. I mean, Red Zora seems to be making a bit of a comeback now. We've not seen it here yet, but I mean, when we look around the world to see what's happening, a lot more red. People playing red. But that Luffy, I played into it with, I think I played Szilveszter into it. The amount of rush, just power and rush you have in it, it's not necessary. It's the same with Dragon, really. It's like if Dragon had a bit more support, you could sit there and think it'd be a lot better. But that Luffy has, it basically is like Dragon, but the cards you get from Luffy, with the Straw Hat engine and stuff like that, just so much better support for it. With it being an original set deck. Let's say you have a blockable Luffy, oh look, you can get 2 down on it, so blockable now.
It's definitely a very aggressive deck. And
it's quite difficult to control, I think.
Yeah. I think we should keep an eye on that leader. Yeah. I think it's going to do well in the future.
Yeah, because decks that are like, even decks that are defensive, like Bonnie would struggle. Because you play around it, like, oh yeah, I just put 1 down on my leader, I'll play this. Oh no, to play, I play the Zora first, don't I? The structure Zora first to get them done on your leader, to then move it to the Zora to get it off.
And then next week, the 31st, which was last Monday.
Would have been last Monday. Yeah, it would have been, OP10 Law, so green yellow, and then OP10 Kid, and then OP07 Lucci. I think this literally was the last
final hurrah at Rob Lucci.
Yeah.
The deck list at its peak. Unfortunately, yellow is yellow.
Yeah, and Lucci doesn't really handle yellow that good, does it?
It's alright. It's, I would say it's one of the more even matchups.
I was going to say, I think when me and you have had conversations about what was in store for OP10, we kind of assumed that, Teach should get better, Shanks. I don't think Shanks got any better, did it? But you obviously had some of the newer stuff, so stuff like Smoker was prominent over in Japan. And then there were a lot of decks that had seen a little bit of play, but not a lot. And I think Yellow Kid was one that got a decent bit of play. But Green Yellow, I think people thought looked interesting. It plays, I think, I'm assuming, I've not played a game into you with it yet. We might do some games after the stream it, but I think I might have seen one game you play, and it looks interesting, and it can work. The skill ceiling, I'm assuming, is similar to Red Green, if not more. No,
it's lower.
Oh, okay.
It is so much lower.
Fantastic.
The deck plays itself. The only thing that you need to know with Yellow Green Low is the cards that spread into the others.
Yeah.
So the only way you can really mess up is when you are doing the life interaction.
Yeah.
But genuinely, it's a spreadsheet deck.
Oh, okay.
It's very much a spreadsheet deck. All you need to memorize is which cards can reach into the next.
Yeah.
And once you have that down, you can have some crazy explosive turns.
Yeah. OP10 Kid. I've seen the odd couple of builds for this. I've built one. It's fractionally different. I think other people have kind of caught on to the same idea where you could use the Supernova Luffy for an SD30 with the kid to pull it out, get some sort of trigger. I'm assuming it's more of the. I mean, I don't know exactly what this was with this, but I'm assuming which would have been more.
No, it was someone was.
Was it John?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you said you wanted to miss that. Okay. Yeah. So, well, I'm assuming that runs more, like you said it was more vanilla heavy.
It's more down to set them, like as close as you can get to pure set them build, which just shows how easy the useless kid is from set them. I think it's easy.
So OPO7 Lucci was next, which we said again.
Yeah, final hurrah before the balance drops.
We move on to post ban list.
Yeah.
Third and the fourth. So I remember playing this because this is an interesting and it shouldn't have happened again. Why do I play decks that shouldn't be anywhere near this? OPO9 Shanks won, which no surprise. Second place, OPO3 Ace. Red OPO3 Ace. The third was Lim, but I mean, I would have thought Lim would have had a bit more representation actually, with it having such strong support. But what do we need to say about this? Oh yes, right. Yeah. I remember why you're laughing now. So, was it 4? 4 out of 9 players played Teach. One player played 3 rounds of mirror matches of Teach. He went 2-1, ironically. I think he came 5th.
Yeah, but he came above all the other people that played Teach.
He will, on the video that will be released, I think today, he was round 1 of a Blackbeard mirror, and all he played was Blackbeard mirrors.
Yeah,
I think another player just played Blackbeard mirrors as well. Strangest game I've ever seen. I think I had the buy in the first round, playing Ace, and I walked over and was like, why have both Blackbeard players got like 10 cards in hand? Well, we don't have to pitch.
Because we just play against each other.
Oh yeah. I've not played one of them matches. I've never been fortunate to play a Blackbeard mirror. That sounds so weird. Never happens to be able to pitch. But you want to pitch half the time because you want. If you're playing Jesus Burgess, you want the Burgess to get better.
Yeah, but look, all I can say is, if we do something like this next time, we're gonna do it with a deck that's like a bit more interactive. Like
no, I want a full like 8-man tournament of Blackbeard mirrors.
Oh.
I watch nobody get anywhere near winning. It'll be the best person with a Blackbeard ring to win. That sounds horrible.
I need some therapy. I need some
therapy
after that.
Retail therapy. Right as well.
You have another leader pack.
Yay.
Hey.
I mean, SR mode.
It's an SR.
It's a bit out of them 5 packs, I guess.
It's at least a good SR.
I already have it. I mean, I have a playset, and I've got 3 odds for it. Because I've actually tried to play Ctf Mar. As stupidly dumb as it is. To be fair, I think I played a practice game with it, and ridiculous as well. Yeah, but it's just me. So there's a result for pre-release, after pre-release. So we can talk a bit more. Let's talk a bit more now about the madness. So the 4 cards that were here was Gecko Warrior.
Yep.
I mean, I understand why. It pushes the leader Gecko Warrior into a different style of play. Yeah. More of a hand aging, which is a bit. It's different. It's different. It's different in the current state of America, which is nice. We had that loot. We had the Jinbei from OPO7.
Yeah.
I don't think, and I've said this to other people. I mean, everyone said, Jinbei is needed. It makes other blue decks worse. I'm not going to disagree. But the only reason it makes Boa or Blue Crocodile worse because they're both 7 those leaders. I don't think it matters that much because you just play the OPO7 Dofi from that set, which is removable, but it still plays out the body. It just plays about faster.
So the reason why Jinbei was hit was because Doflamingo had close enough 70% representation at events.
Yes.
So well over 2/3 of the players that showed up have been playing Blue Doflamingo.
Yeah.
And there were a couple events where the top 16 had like 10, 11 players all on Doflamingo.
But that's due to its consistency.
Which was
I think
due to Jinbei.
I think that I mean when they did EVO1 they gave it Ruben, which was allowed to draw a card, which helped it, and that's kind of what it needed. It needed a bit of help. I think giving it a lot of support, and I know it's like support for Bandai as well, giving it support in OPO7, then giving it a structure deck, where it give it more support, really sent it over the top. And I get that people like playing, and it still did well consistent. It just wasn't in the top. People weren't taking it to like events, big events anyway. People were just taking like, so classic red.
The Flamingo is an easy deck to play, but it takes a lot of practice to master and do well with it. And Jinbei is a very, very important cornerstone on how the deck plays. Yes, there are cards that can replace it. Is it gonna be any better than Jinbei was?
It won't be better, but it will make it. That's what I'm saying. In my mind, Jinbei is just not a carbon copy, but you go to that 3-drop Doflamingo, it's more or less done to play it, but it costs you that extra dot because it costs $2 to use Activate Main to play the card after the top of your deck. So it's basically the leader effect. It is a bit more cumbersome, but if you're using it to say you play that Dofi out, you use your leader effect and put that Dofi on board, you then play another 2 dots, play another card, let's say it's the law. The law then bounces that Dofi back, so you can just keep recycling, same as Jinbei, recycle on board, activate, just keep flooding board. So it just costs you 1 extra dot every turn.
And that is the important part because it costs 1 extra
dot. Which makes it more, again,
it is like that's 1 extra dot in the Flamingo that is a hindrance.
No, I agree.
So at the moment, the lists that people play, they are more revolving around the Trafalgar Law from the structure deck that the Flamingo received. And they are playing it more along the lines of let's clear out everything of the opponent's field. And it also has the 6 of War Handbook featured in. They again started playing the tank cost Kaido to have some more raw power at the end.
It has. You do play different.
But altogether, Jinbei, I still think it was harsh banning it.
I can understand they needed to find a way to tempo Dofi down a bit, and I get that completely. But...
And now that we know what they are planning for the future of the game, I think it's gonna be very likely that they will want to stay away from banning leaders. Because of what's going to happen in the future.
Would you call it like a negative ban? Because I was going to say a lot of people. It's similar to what I was saying with Doflamingo being 7%, at the top. But it was the same with like Sakazuki, wasn't it? It was Sakazuki Gekko when Sakazuki was around, and even in Japan when Ukyo, whatever it was. No, it was ST10 Law. That was ridiculously high up in Japan, and it was notable. So I completely understand, but it just needs a couple of nerves in my mind. It doesn't necessarily need the full leader ban it just needs to take a couple of cards out of it to make the 10th.
Which did happen. It did happen with the banning of Jinbei. Was it harsh because of all the other blue decks out there? Yes. Did it really impact those blue decks as much as it has impacted the Flamingo? Not really.
No. We'll move on to Jinbei.
The one card that did make a really big impact of leaving is Ice Age.
I think every black deck ran Ice Age unless you weren't playing. I mean, every deck's going to rule it after that, so you can run it regardless. I think you could even find space to run it deep. You could find space.
There were lists that were running Ice Age, black yellow Luffy. There were some lists that was like rotating around the Rocket Luffy, Ice Age removal, some hyper board control lists of it. The reasoning behind the card and why it was banned is sound and simple. You can't really disagree with the decision.
I'm not against that one. It was such a good.
It has been a staple season.
For the amount, it wasn't necessarily like if it wasn't -5, if it was say -4, -3, maybe it might be looked at a bit differently. -5 is a lot. If you think the next closest card to get anywhere near it is -3 for a 1-drop, but you get another effect off it, and you get -3, and then the card can't active next turn. But then when you look at even the higher up element of it, was like a 4-drop Oh, it's a static -5 on everything. That's 10 drop. That's just hold on efficiency just to get that usage. No, I say TNT is so big on any black deck that plays removal. Because it was even for Satsuki as well, you think about it, back in the day. It was always good removal for that. The other card was Kingdom Come or Rygo. The same, I guess.
It had to go. It was either that or the zero cost event in yellow.
Yeah, I think so. I think that
it was either of the two.
Yeah, I think because the zero cost events are used in every colour, I don't think you'll ever ban one of them. I don't think you can.
Yeah, whereas Rygo
is just a flat out.
It was almost exclusively used in NL.
Yeah.
There were some black yellow Lutu decks that were running the
because you go so low on
because of how the deck works.
Yeah, you just get free removal rate puts me like it.
But in NL the card had just such high levels of synergy.
I think we spoke recently when we were talking about the madness and shorts. Towards doing the shorts, it was a case of Rygo basically replaced Reject.
Yeah.
And Reject was busted with yellow, and any yellow deck could run that, not necessarily just Rygo itself.
So once again with this ban list we see two staples going from black and yellow.
Yeah.
And Ice Age has the similar reasoning as Great Eruption was. Kingdom Come has the same reasoning as Reject has. Like, this is why we said at the beginning that this ban list was very much a 50-50. Some people agree with half of it and then disagree with the other half. Altogether, all I can say is I am pretty sure that they have had their investigation, they had a look at the meta, see what cards were played, and made the decision based on those results.
I've seen enough of that card, man. No. Why? Why? It's one of the worst.
It's so ugly.
The worst thing is,
it's so ugly.
I bought these packs so we had something to open on stream. There's a little bit of content.
It's such an ugly card.
Sylvester's been badgering me for some cards, and he's like, I need one Holy Jones. I'm like, there's some OPO 6 packs in the store. We'll open them and see what we get. We've opened OPO 10 and got nothing. Bottom of an SR. And that ugly card.
Please tell me that's.
You're going to try and tell me that's a 10.
No, I don't care what.
Yeah, it doesn't get any more. It's ugly.
What I was more curious about is the artist's name, is the artist who designed this specific card art, or just the original person who made like the original art. It's such an ugly card. It's hideous. It's hideous.
Fantastic. I mean, what's it worth now? Like, it's like 20 quid?
Yes.
It's not even. I mean, the packs cost me about 30. Just put it at the bottom. Yeah, we don't put it somewhere. Do not need to see somewhere else.
It's very much a 50-50 ban list.
Yeah. So what cards would you have liked to see on the ban list?
I would have liked to see Bonkure from EBO1.
Yeah, I think you expect them to be enough about that. I'm okay with that to an extent. I think there are other cards that work in other decks for it. I can understand why the removal of it sounds very interesting to us. I don't think they will, because with EBO2 coming shortly, not EBO2 necessarily, Premium Booster 2 coming shortly in October-ish time, I would have thought. They're going to reprint it anyway. They'll make as much money out as possible. The same with every sequel, they'll just reprint it again and again and again. I personally would have liked to see, I know it's not been out long, but I think Gundam Giant is ridiculously overpowered for what you need it for. If you think that if you're playing it in a deck that doesn't ramp, it makes sense, but the fact that you can purposely play it in decks that ramp that fast to use it, and it's such a good defensive tool to defend this board.
So there are arguments of it needing to go on one or staying, and both sides of the arguments are as valid as they can get.
Yeah.
So It is a really strong card. It synergizes very well with purple decks, and as we have seen, the future of the competitive scene is going to be all about purple for a good time.
EVO 2 coming out is green purple Luffy, you go to OPO 11, and it's blue purple Luffy.
Yeah.
It's all just around there. Don't get me wrong, I can appreciate that certain decks probably get a lot of benefit from it. You know, like Robin gets the benefit from it, Robin with it. Life Thingy and the Vanished Life. But purple Luffy, which, I'm just going to take my life and get card advantage. It gains card advantage, it gains its resources, and you have another card that gives it the further card advantage. And it has the ability to flip forward faster than both decks because of its ranking. It didn't need an extra tool. It already had enough. It's similar to Dofi. Dofi got a lot of tools to make it. Blue Dofi really good. It didn't need any more purple. I know it's more built for more of the Robin. That's what it released in the set, isn't it?
And also the black purple.
Yeah, the black purple as well. Yeah, it was predominantly for those two. To be fair, even if the card had stayed, and I mean this in the nicest way, even if it was a rot, you know, in OP, this is such an hard to remember. It was a blue Animal Kingdom card. It was a 5-drop event. It was purposely for multicoloured Animal Kingdom leaders.
Yes.
If it just stated that on it, it would have been perfectly fine. I'd be like, don't have to touch it. It only works for Purple Black Luffy, it only works for Robin. And it would work for the other Luffy's coming up. It wouldn't work in Purple Luffy.
So, just
I cannot remember
by restricting
I'll put it on the screen, but I do not remember the card.
Just by restricting it so that the card only works with Straw Hat Crew, that is well enough. Unfortunately, it does mean that these decks have a advantage when it comes to competitive play. It is just what it is, unfortunately. And until we get to future sets where hopefully
what do you reckon that's why?
So hopefully in the future we should.
That's alright, dude.
Yeah. So hopefully in the future.
I mean, that would be relevant too.
Yeah. I would want to see more ways of interacting with the opponents now. So there was a phase in set 3 where everything was about Magellan.
Oh, okay, you mean that version of it.
Yeah. And I just want to see that time return to play. Because nowadays, when you see one or two don't open, if you're not playing green, you don't have all the Jones, you don't know what to do.
Well, that fact's really good. I mean, the Dom, what was the Dom in this? I honestly can't remember.
Dom?
Oh, Sanji Girl.
Yeah, the big guys. So, I would want to see in the future more cards that interact with Dom.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. So,
just resting the opponent's Dom, especially with the current environment. If you're not playing green,
you don't have much chance of doing that.
Yeah.
I mean, yellow doesn't interact with it so much. I think yellow interacts with
purple and green are the ones that mainly interact with it. But I think.
Yes, I think blue interacts with the trash on your opponent's side. It interacts with their hand size on your hand size.
Yeah.
Red purely just affects the board.
So, when it comes to card games, there is always, with One Piece as well, there is a color pie, and there are always cards that break the color pie, and I would like to see some more cards that do break the color pie, and when it comes to interacting with Dawn, I think red could be one of those colors that should have some options in breaking the color pie, and resting a Dawn card is something that green does a lot of times. So printing out some red cards that when attacking would rest the Dawn, I think that could make a change and tilt the meta more towards red, which has seen a surge in popularity since the ban list.
Yeah. So we got the ban list. Regionals predictions. So you said you've seen the regional results from Glasgow. So what was the top? With the Bandless being... No, the Bandless wasn't in effect last week, was it? It was just before.
I don't think the Bandless.
So I'm assuming from
what I remember, the announcement was that it is going to be played with the Bandless in effect. I'm not certain.
22nd?
Yes.
I thought it would have been an announcement. I'm sure I saw something about it.
I think there was a Discord announcement about it.
That might be it. I didn't see exactly how it was. This is fun for it. It's not this weekend, is it? I'm just making sure.
There was the
buggy thing.
Yeah, there was the thing about the buggy.
Yeah. Let's see. I think nothing's been announced. Looking at it, I've got one to Brisbane for the 22nd. I've not seen anything before. I mean, just looking on Limitless's website now, the top decks in OPO 9 is prior to having O10 format is Blue Durfee number 1, Black Yellow Luffy, Black Luffy, Purple Luffy, Red Tank, Black Man. That's top 6, and we've got no green in there at all. Yeah, minimal yellow, Black Yellow.
Yeah.
So a lot of it mono though, I will say. 5 decks mono.
Yeah. So. And they tend to do this. So we have half a season where the top decks are 5 life.
Yeah.
And then we are rotating into double color 4 life, which we are in now.
Mm-hmm.
And it looks like set 12 is going to be the one where they shift again.
Yeah,
set 12 is
you message saying about old mono deck leaders. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with mono decks because we just seem to have everyone playing duels half the time. There's only the mono decks that are consistent in those that play, so you don't see.
Yeah,
we very rarely see sort of like Odie Jones or Kuro tournament, and we'll see Shanks there every week.
It's
or Foxy. Foxy's a good leader.
So post Bandless, I think there will be a surge in seeing decks like Zoro, Bello Betty, Yamato, Robin. I think these 4 decks are going to see a rising popularity. Simply because you can build them more aggressively.
I'm sure you've seen it as well, the super stuffed Robin build. Which is, don't get me wrong, it looks super funny.
It's fun.
But, Jesus, no. I've watched it, I've seen a video on it, I've seen how you could be at 3 live and you just lose game immediately. It's like, oh, that went quick. And it resolves around playing Bido Linden and the new Basil Hawkins card. But, yeah. Ironically, John asked me to look at the back of the card. I would build it. Yeah, I would buy Basil Hawkins in my yellow kit deck. If he gets the Basils, then I might build it for him. Not for that deck. I mean, we've spoken before about like decks being. I mean, actually, ironically, because I didn't attend the first locals after the release of OPO 10, and I said, "Oh, so what was locals like last night?" And I'll repeat the message. I thought it was quite good. I always enjoy when I get a message from Szilveszter when I ask them what results happened when I got thrown off. Get back a bit. Okay, cool. New Kuzan is BS. Piskin is AIDS. New Hawkins is AIDS. Sugar is quite funny. Good round, to be fair. I agree with most of that. To be fair, I think we had a couple of practice games recently, and you played Blackbeard, and you said that Kuzan isn't the most amazing part to go into it. And I think even I agree with you.
It changes how the deck plays.
there's a certain aspect of it that's really good, but I think it's no different than having cards that count a Blackbeard that are just not plays. It's kind of a 2 over a 3 on. I don't think it's a 4. Having 4 is a bit tricky. It does one thing really well, which is to not be removed.
Yeah.
But if you're sat with a card that's a 5 for 5 doing nothing, and most of the game until you need to swing with it once, it just doesn't offer you anything. It's just another. It's like having a 1-drop search on board. It's not going to swing unless you invest.
And also, Teach is going to play in a different environment now with the ban list.
Yes, it is. Yeah.
So it is going to encounter decks that have not been played at such value.
Yeah.
Simply because Doflamingo is no more. People
will still play it, but I don't think
people will still play at Riot, but
yeah.
ultimately people are not going to play Doflamingo anymore because it's just not good without Jinbei.
So that's the last of the things to the conversation. We're spoke obviously about Glasgow regions, but predictions. So I'm not going to London. I'm assuming you're not going to London either. We know people that are going to London. Good luck to those people. The one person that we do know that's going, I'd like to hear your prediction of what you think his win record is going to be. You know the deck he's playing. I'd love to hear what you think he might go. I remember the last time he played Blue Dog Flamingo and he went 6 and 4.
Yeah. I think he's going to go 6-3.
Okay.
If they cut it early.
Yeah, they cut it early 6-3.
Yeah, either 6-3 or 5-3. I think he's going to come back with a positive record just because the deck that he's playing is really easy to play.
He's quite consistent, isn't it?
Yeah, that too.
I'm going to say I have faith in you. That would be cool. I reckon he might go 7-3 or 7-2. I'm going to show faith. I don't think he'll make top 1 the day after. I think he might make top 1. Maybe top 60 for the best. He's top 32 in the score.
I think he's going to make the first bracket, not the second.
Now let's do the second thing. I reckon he's going to go 1-8. Who's the other one? No, Japan. Oh. Did you just think of something about? What? That's it. Yeah, that's what I was talking about.
What?
That's the second thing. So I can put both in. I've got both options. We're going 1-8. We're going to go 7-2.
Oh, right.
There's a joke. He'll do fine. Realistically, I'm not. I mean, I've attended a couple. I've done horribly on one, and I've done average at other ones. I mean, so long as you know what you're doing with your deck, half the time you can go middle of the board, half you can go 5. So if you have a good experience with playing your deck over and over and over and over and over and over and over, like he has, with some coaching that he's had from you, I'm assuming he can get that.
Well, like, what's the first thing that can happen? He's gonna play each 5 rounds back to back, and all 5 of them know what they are doing.
Yeah, but I'm not good. It doesn't purple look having a matches. I thought it was more for. You remove the on-play element and look taller, but outside of that, it's still a 7-3. Unless you're consistent in the room, you struggle. And because you get so much counter power, it's not like the teach block is doing that.
It does slow the deck down, but really at the end of it, if the teach player knows what they are doing, it favors them. Yeah, but you are also reducing your own life playing into your opponent's hand. If you have a good teach player, they are favored in that matchup, even if they go first.
Fair enough. Right. Anything do you reckon? So what do you reckon is going to be first then? First in regionals in London.
I think with this ban list, it's going to be either Bonnie or Purple.
Okay. Now you have a chance. Bonnie, I can see it. I just think Bonnie. It depends how many boas turn up. If Bonnie turns up into a boa, I think Boa has such a good matchup into. I know it has the banished smoker now, but I think still with gravity blade and removal. I don't think it's just
the way I look at it is that now with Gecko Moria gone, all the decks that were stomping over Bonnie are now gone. So Black Yellow Luffy, the deck doesn't work anymore. Like it does,
that's what I mean.
It does, but it's nowhere near as good as it was before.
No, that's what I mean. Bonnie was even back before we got the new removal was exactly the case it needed to when you go against it all the time.
So
And it controlled board better.
yeah, you are right in the take that there will be some people playing
Some people will
Goa.
play it, but they might not play them.
I think this regional will be a very low turnout on blue decks.
I think so, yeah.
And it is going to be a very black, purple, green environment.
No, I reckon
with occasional.
I think Shanks will be good. I think Shanks will be good.
I think Shanks.
Even the new
Shanks.
I think
Shanks is going to be there.
Oh, Tom's going. Tom's playing the new structure.
Yeah, I think so. Red decks are now in the position where they are the skill check decks, and then everything else is. It really just turned into a mid-range against aggro environment, with an occasional control deck showing up every now and then.
So, you've got body. Let's go. What do I think of that? I'd like to see Teach get one. I don't think Teachers have one yet.
It's not unreasonable.
It's not a reasonable thing. I think Teachers have got one. I've not seen enough people in the UK play soccer or anything like that to see that be. Probably that could be up there as well. I still think if it's not going to be Teach, I think it'll be Clarence. I don't think Bonnie has enough. It makes the top 16. I don't think it makes still. Just doesn't have enough. Surprise package. Something you'd be surprised to see in the top 64. A road deck, not like a deck that's just off the mare that's still really good and get a good match of that range or something. So they could pull. Yeah.
Top 60.
Top 64.
Top 64.
Top 64.
Okay.
So you have to only hit 7 and 2. Or 6 and 3.
Honestly, or the Jones.
Okay. Oh, I wasn't expecting a Greek next to that. Okay.
Simply because it has the ability of, as I said, interacting with the opponent's dawn.
Yeah, of course. Yeah,
so they have the ability to turn off that one active dawn that they are keeping up for a giant or something else.
Oh yeah, especially purple. Yeah, that's very bad.
It does remove a swing from you, but
and even to be fair, if even if they Holy Jones into black, you still get the rush Holy Jones. Yeah, you just don't take the life. To be fair, you're not resting blockers anyway at the time. And they don't have to on the end of the turn, so you just get a free swing. I wouldn't be surprised to see green yellow. I know you're saying that it's a mid-range. I think with the right tools, with the right matches, they could do it.
With the right amount of fun.
Hey, what's any day? We'll see Foxy make top 64 before. Anything's possible. It's just, we'll never see anything ridiculously bad yet.
Like structured at one, we can get a top 16, for example.
I mean, that happened in the early ones, didn't it? In the first 2 regionals, it happened. Sure, in OPO 1, OPO 2 regionals, it happened. Not nowadays.
It was all sort of like
oh yeah, it would have. Yeah, it would have been. That's a good point. So that's the end of CTF. We're probably gonna live stream a couple of games, just some personal testing we're doing. It's the last one, I guess. We've got different ideas and different lists we want to look at. I've got a new GP Dove list I want to look at. I've got non-mono green Odin, which I was testing with it, and I have seen it for, which I'm still playing today. Szilveszter, you got anything you're building at the minute? And obviously you've got your yellow green building at the minute. But...
Yeah, kind of testing the red purple Luffy. Like I've seen some builds with the Rosinante in there, and I just
with the ability to go really high,
so I've been doing some testing with that, and I'm also in the little spare time that I have cooking with green.
Blue yellow still. Yep. I'm building on those. We are going to try and make these a bit more regular, I think, in a minute. Sorry. We were looking at like when we're going to do this again next. Obviously, recently it took me a good solid 5 weeks to get away from work commitments to be able to do this. So we do try and do this every month. Try and look at what's happening around the local scene and stuff like that. If it does push back a bit, it's more due to my work commitments over. Szilveszter's generally here most of the time on Saturdays anyway, but
I don't have a life to worry about.
Thanks for that. Yeah, I enjoy my life.
for the record. Hopefully we might try and get a guest for next time. We did try and get a guest for this time. One who was attending regionals but he didn't want to come in. So we'll ask him how we got on actually at regionals if he does decide to jump for that one. See if he hits the predicted what we think, or if he does better, or even if he just does a bit worse. We'll just laugh at him a bit, I guess. I guess we'll see you in about like 4 to 6 weeks. I would say about 4 weeks should be fine. It's a lot less heavy for me at work at the minute now, and we'll be streaming shortly, I guess.